YouTube. My name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report, 18 to 26, and we're up in the shipping container machine shop at the moment because it's been showering this morning up at the big shed, and yesterday afternoon it was showering as well. And with it showering, you can't film anything in there, and I do have a bit of work to do that I'd like to get stuck into, but yeah, I sort of try and hang off until I can film bits and pieces, so we'll see how we go. The 1929 McCormick Deering regular engine, it's on the stand. It's a heavy engine, which isn't a worry so much, but I was having trouble. I've got a safety sling on it, and I will take a bit of a walk up there later. And when I go to turn it, it starts to get a little bit unstable because we can only bolt on at the back near the crankshaft, and the head and all that sticking up high, the weight's offset. So it can turn, but it's hard to turn. But I've got a safety on there, so the first thing we'll be doing on that engine when we can do a bit of filming is yeah, rocker gear off, head off, and lighten the whole show up a little bit so we can have a look. But we can't do that this morning. If you remember on Bundy Bear's shed, the big shed up the back there, we've had pressure pump troubles for months. It's been going about 12 months, and we put, I think we did 3 Onga pumps. We popped the circuit boards, and in the end they told us they wouldn't warrant it anymore. There's something wrong with the system. Then I went and bought a cheap Chinese top for a pump off eBay for 50 bucks. Put that on, lasted a couple of hours and burned out again. So we're not sure what was going on there. So I got our electrician Nick out, and he's tested all the circuitry and he's checked the whole thing out, and he's look at. He said, I can't really fault the system. You haven't got any different voltages or anything that we shouldn't have there. But what we've chosen to do, and Nick's up there in the shed at the moment doing it, is we're running a big 15 amp main down the back wall of the shed. So he said he's got some big beefy wire, and he's going to run it down, put a power point where the pressure pump is, and near the hoist where the parts washer is, I've always had to run a lead across to that. So we're putting another power point there right next to the parts washer, so we can just flick the switch and that'll be a bit better to use. So Nick's up there doing that this morning, so I'm surplus to requirements, so I don't need to be up there bloody annoying him. He can bum around up there for a bit. And we have showers coming and going, so it's not real good for filming anything, or well, you can't film with someone there anyway. So anyway, we're up Bundy Bear's shed, Bundy Bear's box. Brian Block named that years ago. So Bundy Bear's box. We're in the 20-foot shipping container workshop, and I've got the lathe and mill down there, but those who follow the channel know. So yeah, once the sparky goes, I was going to have the pressure pump ready and all plumbed up and all that, and I was going to do that while he was doing the electrics. I was going to do the plumbing, but standing out in the rain doing plumbing, I don't see any sense in doing that. And so we'll see how we go. But look, at this last week, holy dooly, wasn't it a busy one? We had Alan off on holidays, and Nicole had to go to the dentist and get some wisdom teeth out on Thursday afternoon, and so she'd shifted her rostered day off to Friday, so she had recovery time plus this weekend. So that gives her 4.5 days to to come good. And so we've had Nicole out of the business, we've had Alan out of the business, and on top of all that, the young bloke Tim and Ellie, they had a little girl on, must have been Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. Tuesday was a holiday. So, and yeah, so they ring up and say, well, yeah, we got to be in hospital tonight. Yeah, Mum, can you go and pick up the kids and from school, and can they have a sleepover at our place Tuesday night and all that. So at yeah, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Jude's out of the business. So there's 2 gone because Nick was still there, and then and then yeah, so the afternoons where I come home and I do carbies for people, and I do a bit of machine and I work on my projects, get them ready, wash things and wash parts and trying to get ready for filming. Well, not one afternoon this week did we, this last week did we get home. So I was in there 5:30, 6 in the morning, and I was getting at home 5:36 of the night, so not much happened. So so I have been trying to play catch up a bit. The lawn needed mowing. Saturday mowed all up the back, and where I've been chopping some of the branches off and the trees where the where we cleared the fence line. Hello. And where we cleared the fence line, I had a bit of a mess there, so I cleaned that up, and I've been wanting to get the holes done for the new shed, but you think I can get to it? So anyway, we'll get there. I said to Jude I might have an extra day off this week and try and get up in the shed and do a bit of catch up if I possibly can. But yeah, just one of those things. You probably haven't seen it yet, I don't think, but on the video of pulling the liners on the Perkins AD4203 in the 65, I've had a puller bar made out of 3/4 UNC threaded bar, and on that I had a small thrust bearing with another steel washer here. Then I had a 5/8 UNF nut and a washer coming up backing that up. So but the liner was that hard, or one liner, number 3, was that difficult to get out. It blew the puller up. That bearing just blew to the shit house, and that's the groove that it went in, and it just exploded. So while I'm up at the machine shop, I'm going to dress this down and tidy that up. I didn't get to buy any more threaded bar. I was looking for fine threaded bar, but look, it is around, but it's, yeah, we've got to get it freighted in and bug around. I thought, oh look, this has worked for that long. I'm just going to make up a couple more of these. Put the hex. You can see where the curry I was giving it. I was flogging it. You can see where I've twisted the hex on the end there. So I need to make a couple of them up. I haven't got any threaded bar to do it at the moment. I didn't get to buying any, but when I machined the back of this and the back of, now this has been the original little T20 puller plate. That was the first one that we made for this system, and this was the Perkins one. So with this small thrust being a ball thrust, well, it's not really ideal for the job, but it was just something I had on hand, so I just used what was in the bearing box. So I've had a change of heart. I probably shouldn't have had a ball thrust there. I should have had a roller thrust there. So we're going to fix that. We're going to machine up a couple more parts, but we have another bearing. Now this bearing slides on the 3/4 bar, no worries at all. But what it is, that's a roller thrust bearing, and it's got tin on the outside, so the tin will probably grip on the back of the plate here, and we'll make up another thrust to go against there. And instead of having a small nut going up against a large surface, we're actually going to make something that covers that surface, comes up and back with a hex or something like that, and it'll still have a 5/8 or a 3/4 thread on it, so probably 3/4 thread. I only went to 5/8 thread on this end here, on this puller, just to fit the bearing alone, but now I have a 3/4 bearing. I can make it 3/4 UNC thread, and I'm actually going to pin it, so Loctite it and pin it, and there should be no reason for that to ever come undone. It'll have a larger surface area than a 5/8 UNF thread, being 3/4 UNC, so I'll make a couple more of these up. They over the years I have found that these are a disposable item. They do break here. I usually make them a bit longer, then when these shear off here, I just come down a little bit and put another hex on and keep it going if the thread's in good nick. So I do have to find some I do have to find some threaded bar for that. Now that may be in the machining of the plates only, because I don't have the threaded rod, but we're just going to, in the back of these fellas here, we're just going to do a recess to take the bearing, and we'll probably make it sit in there, oh, say 3mm, 1/8 of an inch or something like that. So it locates. We'll put a radius there, and that way we have a better thrust surface than we had before. So it's not a ball thrust, it's a roller thrust, so we won't have the force on the bearing trying to blow the bearing apart. So I've got the plates up here to do that, so we'll be working on that today. I'm planning on it anyway. But what I started on, I didn't start filming the bloody thing till too late. I was doing it last night, and I was thinking, this morning I walked in and I thought, you silly prick, you should have been filming this. But anyway, yeah, we're not born smart, are we? We don't grow smart either. But look, the problem I'm having with the 65 build is this tacho drive. Now, that tacho drive there that sits on the back of the camshaft, there's a seal in that surface there. There's a neoprene lip seal there that seals on the can, on the back of the cam. Then you have a tacho drive comes out through, and there's a tiny little hole. You can see the hole there in the bottom there, and if the seal fails and any oil comes past the seal, instead of pushing it up the tacho cable and buggering up your gauge, your hour meter, tacho hour meter, it comes out that little telltale hole there, so you can see it best through there. So, but anyway, this part here, the 3-cylinder Perkins ones are 2 bob a dozen. They're you can get them anywhere, but this 4-cylinder one, we're having a bit of a battle finding it. So Sparex, Bepco, Bearco, all the aftermarket people aren't doing them. So I thought, no worries, I'll go genuine, I'll go to Massey Ferguson. And Massey Ferguson has them no longer available in Australia. And I thought, well, not to worry, we have an engine reconditioning place in town called Jacobson's Engineering, and they're the Perkins agent, so I thought I'll go and see Gavin and Alan at the Jakeys and see what they can do. They come back no longer available for this part of all things, and I thought, God. And what happened was, when I bought the tractor, it was like that. The tractor didn't have a tacho, just had an old dog food can bottom in the dash, and in the process of taking this cap off, I broke it. And you can actually see up in there's a fault in the casting there, and you can see the bubbles in this piece. But yeah, I was just going steady with it, trying to jiggle it off, but it turns out this is a funny thread, and they've just got a 7/8 UNF cap and screwed on, and I think they've Loctited it or something. There's some, or Araldite or something, there's some black shit down the bottom there that shouldn't be there, so they've glued it on. So I thought, yeah, what am I going to do now? I can't buy the thing, so I've started making it. So this thread here, now I don't know what this thread is, but I've made one, and I'll show you what I did last night. I've made one. It's 8750D, 875 thou OD, 18 threads per inch. And I've looked at all the charts. I've got thread charts all through here, and the black book, Engineer's Guide, and all that. And I just don't know what thread they've used in that. 18 thread per inch. Look, there's no worries. We've made one, but yeah, 0.875 OD external diameter, I believe, and that's I think that's what it is, 18 threads per inch. So it's an odd size. So if you know what it is, give us a yell. It's not UNEF. It's not UNF. I've looked at a few brass threads and gauge threads, and there's a lot of info on the net, but I just couldn't seem to come up with it. So I thought, bugger it, I'll just go and make one. So I did yesterday, and you know, you sometimes have brain fart. I was looking for a bit of aluminium because I thought, well, this being muck metal, no he's making one out of steel or anything like that, and the nut that screws down on the top of this for the tacho drive, it's aluminium as well. So I thought, well, I'll just make one out of aluminium. And well, I looked around and I found a slug about 2 inches round, so of course I turned most of the bloody thing off and got it down to size, and I'll run the thread, and it's a good thread. I'll take the camera up and show you. And then this morning I was going through some stuff, and here's some stuff 1 inch that I could have just put in and done brown. I suppose you've all been there. So, so part of the stew today is going to be making this, or finishing this off. So the idea is to make a male thread, which I've done. Then we have to bore it to 1/2 inch inside, which that's no worries. We'll just, it can be rough enough just to bang a drill up. That's all I'm going to do, put a drill up. But this housing here, now this has got a boss on the back there, so I've got a nice surface there to put in the 6 jaw and catch. And what I'm going to do is I've got the lathe and the threading set up on the lathe set to 18 threads per inch. So I've made the thread longer than it needs to be. So I'm going to bore this, and at 18 threads per inch I'll have about 3 or 4 threads in there. And so I'm going to make it, and it looks like from this inside edge here to the end where the cable goes on is around 700 thou long. So I'll probably make it about 750 long, you know, 3/4 inch long, and I'll go and do a test fit on the engine when we're going back together. But if it's a little bit too long, I can always just grab it in, just pinging down a couple of thou, 50 thou, whatever we need to get a nice solid drive with the tacho. So we'll go with that. So so yeah, part of the stew today, we're going to do a bit of machining, probably just work on this little fella, and yeah, whether we get to do these other ones, we'll see. We'll see what time allows. I'll probably do it and film it, but it may sort of tack onto next week's stew or something like that, just to put a bit of machining back. I do like machining, but when you're working on tractors, you working on engines and all that, you don't have a lot of machining to do. So but I certainly love being up in my little machine shop here, and crank the music out, and a bit of Spotify, not Spotify, YouTube music. And so yeah, YouTube music, have a few tunes, but I've got the TV up on the wall, and I can Wi-Fi direct to the TV, you know, for YouTube. Sometimes I sit up here watching Double Boost and all that while I'm cleaning up or buggering around. So anyway, we'll see. So follow along. We'll go over to the lathe now, and I'll show you what I've been up to so far. Okay, you can hear the motorbikes, the motocross bikes in the background, but that's all we got today. Okay, I've machined out the back of these discs. So that's a Perkins puller disc, and it's about 40mm OD to get in there. Then I've made a washer, a thick washer to go on the back there, and I'll probably just use the 2 3/4 nuts and lock them together to come down in through here. So I think that's ready to go. The bit here, she's right. I'm pretty pleased with that. I may have to take a little bit off, a couple of threads off this end yet, I'm not sure. Look, we'll just go and see. Okay, the electrician's just left. It's late in the day now, so I just thought I'd pop up here with the camera. You can see the stand's all ready to go. The engine's on it, but with all the head and the bits and pieces here, you can see that the only place on the back of the engine we can bolt it is round where the bell housing bolted on, down through here. So down through there. So it's a bit lopsided, so I've got the gantry here over it until we can lighten it up a little bit and have a go. But yeah, the electrician's just finished. We've got new power points for the parts washer, and I'll just go for a little bit of a walk while we've got you there. So we've got new power for the pressure pumps. We've got new switches in here to run the parts washer here. So yeah, look, we're going pretty well. We'll see how it all goes. But yeah, that's a big tall old engine, isn't it?